Last time I spoke to you, I talked to you about leading a winning team. It's wonderful to be on a winning team. Any of you ever been on a losing team? How many know winning's more fun than losing? Defeat is a part of life. And it's one thing to be on a winning team, but what does it feel like to be on a losing team, and how do you change that? When Lindsay was in high school, freshman, she played girls softball, and they won one game. I think one game out of 15 games. And she came to me and said, "Dad, the softball coach quit, and I told the athletic director you'd coach us." Now, what do you say to a freshman daughter who wants her dad to be her coach? I mean, we were pastoring a growing church. We were in the middle of a multi-million-dollar building program, but I couldn't say no. It was a small Christian high school, very competitive Christian high school, but the main sports for girls was soccer and volleyball. So there wasn't a plethora of athletes available to go out for the softball team. And so they would have to scramble just to get enough girls for the team to make up a softball team. And so they would pull like cheerleaders and girls that had never played softball or had never been on a sports team. And so you can imagine trying to coach, and I think the reason the coach probably quit is because there just wasn't the effort or the desire to win, and he probably felt like, I don't really have the time to coach a team that doesn't want to win. I quickly assessed, how do I help change a mindset of playing on this team and not being content about losing all the time? That was a challenge. I think about that because I deal with now pastors who are discouraged and their volunteers are discouraged. And you get in that climate of discouragement, you think, what's the use? You know, many of the girls just wanted to quit. Matter of fact, a few of the girls quit. And so we had to come up with a different approach. So I gave them all nicknames for number one, because that way they would start new. So I called one girl who was, matter of fact, she was a cheerleader. She had never played before. I called her Killer. Now, she was the furthest thing from a killer, but she didn't really think she could play that well. But I kept saying, we're calling you Killer. I wanted to get them thinking, don't think about winning and losing. Thinking about enjoying this game. I'd played the game all my life. I grew up with a Bible in one hand and a baseball glove in the other hand. I love the game. I used to tell my boys, if you're just playing just to start, that's not enough. You got to play because you love the game, because there'll always be somebody a little bit better than you or a little bit, more talented, but you play because you love the game. We try to find positions that they would enjoy playing, and then we had what we call the D&D Award. It was short for Down and Dirty. Now, to receive the Down and Dirty Award was after the game, where they would line up and see who got the dirtiest from the game. The winner of the Down and Dirty Award would get the drink of their choice for practice. So they would be diving for balls and sliding into bases, even if they didn't have to, because it was about the D&D Award. And it became fun. All of a sudden, it wasn't about winning and losing, but they loved the game that I loved so much. I gathered them around one practice, and I said, how many of you have ever been to a Dodger game? And only my daughter, because of course her dad being a Dodger fan, raised her hand. I said, I'll make you a deal. You win more games than you lose, I'll take you all to a Dodger game. And so we played the first game, and we won. We already matched the season victory total from the year before. You would have thought they won the World Series. They were diving and sliding and yelling at each other, come on, you can be the D&D winner. You can win the D&D award. And they won the game, and they were so excited. and go on that at the end of the year, they end up winning 10 games. And so now I had to come up with a Dodger game. I never expected it, to be honest with you. They had the time of their life, and their view of softball changed completely. And it all came from going through time of defeat to saying, it's not about winning or losing, it's because I love the game. You know, I thought about that in the life of Peter. You know, someone said, don't be too big for your britches because you'll be exposed in the end. And that was Peter. You know, he was always, I can do this, and one time they were having a dialogue and Jesus says, you know, one of you are going to deny me. And he says, I'll never deny you, Lord. They all will, they all might, but you can count on me, Lord. I am Peter. I am never going to deny you. I'm going to give my life for you. Then we pick up the story in Luke 22, starting with verse 54. Then seizing him, meaning Jesus, they led him away and took him into the house of the high priest. Peter followed at a distance. This guy that was going to lay down his life is now in the shadows. He's no longer as bold and as brash, but now he's afraid of his own life. And it goes on to say, and when some there had kindled a fire in the middle of the courtyard and had sat down together, Peter sat down with them. A servant girl saw him seated there in the firelight. She looked closely at him and said, this man was with him. But he denied it. Woman, I don't know him, he said. A little later, someone else saw him and said, you also are one of them. Man, I am not, Peter replied. About an hour later, another asserted, certainly this fellow was with him, for he is a Galilean. Verse 60 says, and Peter replied, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Just as he was speaking, the rooster crowed. The Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. Then Peter remembered the word the Lord had spoken to him. Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times. And he went outside and wept bitterly. Defeat. Have you ever felt that? That you just feel like a failure. He had promised the Lord that you can count on me. And in the Lord's greatest hour of need, Peter denies him. How do you overcome defeat? Whether it's personal, whether it's the people you work with, staff, church you pastor, how do you overcome that? I have faced countless times where I felt like I've been defeated, and we can just give up, like many of those girls on that softball team said, this is no fun. I'm going to give up softball. I'm going to go do something else. Or we can overcome it. Overcoming defeat can build our character. This was a character moment for those girls. It was just girls' high school softball in a small Christian school in the Central Valley. But it was a much bigger issue. It was a lesson for life. That in life you will feel like you're losing. And you can walk away from relationships, walk away from positions, walk away from opportunities, and never have an opportunity to build your character. When the urge to walk off the field comes, and it will, ask yourself what kind of person you want to be. Even through defeat, it can help build your character. It can help become the person that perhaps you want to be. When everything just goes right all the time, that doesn't have as much impact when things don't go right, but you don't give up, because it has to do with building your character. Secondly, overcoming defeat can test our true abilities. These girls just didn't feel they were good enough. They just assumed that other teams were better, were faster, were stronger. They didn't have a chance. Girl said to me, I'm no good. Coach, take me out of the game. We have to change that. I played competitively throughout college, all through college. And they were teams better, stronger, faster than we were. But I was raised with strict fundamental coaches. It's laying down that bunt, stealing that base, hitting that cutoff man. That's the difference in so many games. One play because of fundamentals. See, whenever we think ourselves or our future, if we walk off the field, we'll never really know what we're capable of or what we're truly possible to do. You know, the girls on the softball team could have finished without giving their all. They could have just said, I'm done. But something said, no, I can do this. When we won that first game, they said, we played like we had never played before, one girl said. We didn't think we could play softball like that because they were more concerned about not losing than enjoying the game. It was Thomas Edison who said, I have not failed. I have found 10,000 ways that won't work, because he recognized he had the ability to create it, but it had to come through several defeats. But God uses availability more than ability if we don't let defeat stop us. But thirdly, overcoming defeat can impact others. These girls, instead of criticizing each other, begin to cheer each other on. That athlete to now hug that cheerleader, say, way to go, great hit, good job. Man, I mean, to see them all of a sudden realizing they just weren't playing for themselves. They were playing for the team. They were playing for their school. They were playing for the community now. What a change that had happened. The impact of their decision was far-reaching, even now that I think about it today. I'll never forget Killer. As I said, she had never played softball before, and she was a cheerleader who had come out for the team, and we put her out in right field, hoping that she wouldn't get a lot of chances. She had a lot of enthusiasm, but just didn't have a lot of ability. Well, the game was tied, and they had people on base, and a ball was hit to her, and I'm thinking, come on, Killer, you can do this. And it went over her glove, over her head, and rolled to the fence. 2-run score. We're now down by 2 runs. She was crying when she came in from the outfield. I sat her on the bench. I said, Killer, listen, you're going to win this game for us. She looked at me like, you're nuts. I just lost the game. I said, no, you're going to win this game. You can do this, Killer. I thought she'll never even get a bat, but at least I can encourage her. That's what coaches are supposed to do. Well, we got men on base. Matter of fact, bases got loaded. 2 outs, and Killer comes up. I said, time out. And I said, Killer, remember I said, you're going to win this game. She looked at me and said, Coach, we're going to win this game. She gets up, strike 1, strike 2. I'm thinking, oh, Jesus. The next pitch, she hits the ball. It floats over the third baseman's head, hits the chalk down the line. It rolls into the corner. 1 run comes in. 2 run comes in. The 3rd one comes in, and we win the game. The girls run out, and they hug Killer, and they're all jumping in the middle. And I'm thinking, God, what a great God you are. The girl could have been crushed for life. She ran in. She said, Coach, we won the game. We won. I said, Kelly, I told you were going to win. She said, thank you, Coach. I only wish my dad could have been here. Many of the girls, their fathers never came. But today, she was a winner. I think about our pastors, our leaders, that a far greater coach than I is cheering on the sideline. And Jesus is saying, you can overcome defeat, and it can build your character. It can test your true abilities, and your life and work can impact others. I'll end with a quote from James Baldwin, who said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." Give me that opportunity today. And God, give me the strength. Give me the courage. Lord, I want to be like Killer, that one day I'll jump into your arms and say, we've won the game.